Hey y'all, it's Amanda. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to my November. If this is how it's gonna go, do I leave this in here or do I restart? We're leaving this. Welcome to my November wrap up. Alright y'all, I don't know, this is a weeknight. I'm filming on a weeknight. So if you hear any background noise, the hubs, our kid, they're running around. But I told him, I said, I just give you like 30 minutes because I need to get this out. Because if I don't, y'all, I ain't gonna have a wrap up and it's gonna interfere with all my Vlogmas stuff. So I am taking about 30 minutes here. So forgive any background noise of family, okay? There it is. So anyway, I love you guys so much. So that is a transparent moment. But I want to get this wrap up done because it's been a month and I don't have time. So we here. I don't even know where I'm at. So that was like a full, real, raw Amanda, okay? I was actually putting some like crazy clips from my Vlogmas videos on my Instagram of like all my mistakes in one of my videos. I filmed one really late at like 11 o'clock at night and it was like chaos. So yeah, sometimes my brain goes outer space and I don't know what I'm saying, but we here. But first, before we get into this, I want to mention, because I forgot to mention this in my TBR, I did put it in the comments, pinned, and I did put something in the community tab, but in case you didn't know, the book club pick for, the Christian book club pick for December is Better Watch Out by Natalie Walters. I was so fired up when I read this. I forgot to mention it in the video, but I was so fired up about this book being the book club pick. It just sounds so good. If you haven't seen my TBR, I will leave it down below. I will leave this book down below as well. You can check out the synopsis. Not going to go into all that here because it's a wrap-up video, but a lot of y'all said this sounded really great. This is on Kindle Unlimited as well as of the filming of this video. So, sounds like a really cute Christian romantic suspense type story because the guy is like, what is he? What is he? Is he a defenseman? Yeah. Okay, anyway, let's go. So yeah, this is one I'm really excited for, and I've not read but like one novella by Natalie, and I know like her writing style. I really liked her writing style in that book. So yeah, we here. So this is our Christian book club pick. Again, the book club is just very low key. You know, we just kind of, some of us Christian booktubers come up and we say, hey, what kind of genre do we want to read this month? There's like a spin the wheel thing we do, and whatever, and it's funny how Christmas ended up in Christmas. So I was like, yes, look at the Lord. But so yeah, and then we just pick a book and we all vote on it, and then we say, hey, this is what we're going to read. If you want to read this with us, please pick it up, and we'll all talk about it on our channels. And I'm usually pretty good about picking the ones up. Sometimes I haven't in the past, but this is one I was going to read anyway, regardless if it won. There were several other options that I'm planning on reading anyway this month too. So yeah, so I hope y'all pick this up, and let's go ahead and get into the wrap up because I've already spent 3 minutes talking about other things. First and foremost, what do I want to do? Do I want to talk about nonfiction? Maybe we start there because November was like nonfiction November, and I had my kids throwing cars. I could hear it. So forgive that too. So we here. All right. So I want to talk about the nonfiction reads first because I did lightly participated in like a little readathon that Catherine over at Read Journal Love and Anne from In Search of Wonder, they had put together Fall into Faith for November, and it was just picking Christian nonfiction that surrounds the prompts of surrender, end times, service, and prayer. And I really feel like, honestly, both of these Christian nonfiction books I read this month could fit in that. Let me just say that both of these books just truly impacted me. We got Joy in Christ's Presence by Charles Spurgeon, and I've never read either of these authors too. And then Felicia Basenheimer, Every Woman a Theologian. Know what you believe, live it confidently, communicate it graciously. So first, let me talk about Joy in Christ's Presence because I was reading this throughout the entire month of November, and I picked this up because my friends Chrissy from Chrissy's Purple Library, Dia from Novel Idea, and Tiffany from Beautiful Minutia, they were hosting a read-along for this, and every week they had a live discussion talking about certain chapters for the week, and I was able to be on each one of those and in the chat, so I was sharing those on my community tab each week. And this book truly blessed me. That experience with those lovely ladies really blessed me as well. I just have to say, I am fully transformed by this book. This book has been highlighted in, written in. I mean, I deep dove in this. I didn't even do tabs because I was just going to tab everything, you know? So I was like, I just need to, I mean, just highlight the whole book, you know, at this point. So you can just see as I went through it. And, you know, books like that is such a blessing to be able to go back and kind of see what you highlighted, see what stood out to you, what did you get out of it. And this is definitely my top 5 of the year. regardless. Definitely the top nonfiction of the year, 100%. So I might do a video just wrapping up all the nonfiction I read for this year. Might do that in January. I don't know. But because I think I've read almost 9 or 10. So yeah, this is definitely just a timeless masterpiece. I think that this is written, I mean, what, 1800s? This is written in the Victorian era. And he was like a mega church pastor in England, from what Tiffany was saying. And so, yeah, this was copyright, when was it? Oh, it's hard to tell. This just says 1834 to 1892. See, I can't really even tell when this was written. It's a long time ago. This version was printed in 1997, but like my book doesn't say. So whatever, let's say in Victorian era. Long time ago. And it's crazy to see how just timely this is for our world today in my walk with the Lord, and just how much I resonated with how he wrote everything in this book. I mean, just a profound exploration of joy and how to experience joy in his presence truly. It has such a rich theological insight that's not boring, that you can truly connect with, and I'm so glad that I read it. You're just going to be completely inspired to deepen your relationship with the Lord no matter what. Like, this book will take you through it in all the tears, all the emotions. I love it. Definitely my favorite book of the year. So good. Then we have Every Woman a Theologian by Felicia Masonheimer. And I picked this up as part of Keisha's Revive book club. Her and Jordan from Book Gym, they hosted this, and their live stream, y'all, if you've not seen it, I will link it down below. It was just such a joy to just be a part of that with those lovely ladies. And I was able to be there for the first hour, and I just loved being in the chat and just all the different people in there. There were so many people in there that have been blessed by this book club and by this book as well. And they have a Discord as well, so I did just join that this last week. So if you want to join that, I will leave her video down below. She's got all the details on her book club, her Discord, and all of this stuff. I personally, some of people have asked about a Discord. Honey, I can't manage nothing right now. My life crazy, but I love that she has one, so that readers, like part of this book club, can like just talk about all these different things, different recommendations, faith related items, and just talk about their love for the Lord as well, and prayer requests. It's a great thing that she has right now. So, but I read this as part of that book club, and I read this more so over a week, and I did listen in tandem with the audiobook, so I had some highlights. Not as many as in the other book, but I had, you know, just a few highlights here and there, and I'd write in some words. But then, you know, I was getting down to the wire, and I was like running out of time, so I did listen to the audiobook some throughout the day. And, you know, then there are other chapters where I actually did a little bit more highlighting than others. So yeah, this is definitely going to be a great resource for me personally. I thoroughly enjoyed reading this. I gave it 5 stars. And if you didn't know, Joy in Christ's Presence was also 5 stars, obviously. But this author, she really just covers the fundamentals of the Christian faith and theology and all of these different definitions and things I never thought about before. There's a couple things I knew, but most of it I didn't. And I feel like this is a very valuable resource in addressing many questions and topics that believers might have, especially when they're first, you know, getting seasoned in their faith, we'll say. But even if you're more of a well-seasoned person, we'll say, in your faith walk, I still feel like everyone can get something out of this. And it's just, this is going to become a go-to reference for me personally, especially when discussing faith-related questions with Blake, the Hubs, and just trying to explain things. Like, for example, he had some questions about the Trinity, because he's at a different place in his faith walk than I am, and you know, I was able to like look at this and I'm like, oh, this is a great explanation that I could tell him, you know? And so I feel like every woman and in person, really, it doesn't matter if you're a woman or a man, I think every person should read this. She gives a lot of great historical context for the different denominations, just other religions as well, so that you're more aware of that too. And I really appreciated that. This will definitely encourage and strengthen your faith and just provide guidance on many aspects of one's faith journey. So really glad I read this. And so these two are the Christian nonfiction books I read this month. I don't really know where these fit in as far as Catherine and Anne's Readathon. I just feel like they could fit in for all 4 prompts, not both, but all 4 prompts, because there's talks of prayer, service, end times a little bit as well. And what was the other one? What was the other one? Prayer, service, end times, and something else. Okay, this is how this is gonna be, y'all. I really don't even know where I'm at. Okay, I've lost her video, but surrender, end times, service, and prayer. yeah, I feel like, you know, these two books have so much information on all those topics. So that's what I'm going to say. I read something from all four of them in these two. Hope that's okay. But, yeah, I'm really glad that I picked these up and dove into these for this month. And, okay, I need to get going because, I mean, we're going to be here all day, y'all. I have so much to talk about. The other nonfiction book I read for Nonfiction November is Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing by Matthew Perry. I don't own this. I listened to this on audio because he narrated it. If you didn't know, he did pass away. I think most people know by now that he had passed away. He was in Friends. He played Chandler, and there was so much more to him than that character. And, you know, I've seen videos around of him talking in his later life. But that's not what he wanted to be remembered for, was his role in Friends. He knew that's what people would remember him for, but that's not what he wanted to be remembered for. He wanted to be remembered for helping others with addiction. And, you know, I just feel like that was definitely shown in his book. If I rated this, I probably would have given it 5 stars, but, you know, maybe like 4 to 5 stars if I did rate it, but I did not rate it. I don't think I'm going to rate memoirs anymore because it's hard to rate somebody telling their story, regardless if I didn't really care for his terms, language. You know, he did have the F word in this quite a bit, you know, and if that bothers you, you know, don't read this. The F word, I mean, it's a ton of that, okay? But I don't want to discredit this book because some of the stuff I didn't necessarily agree with on him, or with him on, but because he was telling his raw story, his raw self, his true authentic who he was. And, you know, I feel like this book was very thought-provoking. Truly hope people will continue to become free from addiction by reading the story. You know, I saw where he had said after the book was published that many people had already checked into rehab after reading this. And so that itself was great to read about. And, you know, I never knew truly how much this man went through, his hardships in life with his family, parents, addictions, drugs, alcohol. Like, he was just, most of his life was that way. And he starts his story off by telling us he should have been dead. And, you know, his colon ruptured. He should have been dead because of all the pills he was taking. And that's how this story takes off. And you really just see from his early life as an actor and just in his family and, like, you know, the drinking and the drugs and everything that he was into and just how that came full circle when he was older. And he was finally clean. I want to say it was 2021. And he published this book and was just talking all about his stuff. And it's just very sad, but also encouraging with this message of hope. And he did talk about his relationship with God. You know, he talks about how God saved him from his addictions. And that was very interesting to hear about. I do feel like some of what he said in relation to that was a bit inappropriate, but again, you know, I hope, I said this before, I just truly hope he knew the Lord a little bit. He did talk about, you know, with God here. I try to think about how Hollywood is today, and it's very hard to understand where everyone is. If they are a believer, you don't necessarily know that because they don't come out and say a lot, right? If they are. And so what he did talk about with God, I hope that he truly knew him. Your heart just truly broke for him while reading this book. I mean, some of the reviews mention that he blames a lot of others for what happened to him, and I can see how he kind of did do a lot of that. But, you know, I mean, because ultimately we are responsible for what, you know, our own actions of what we do. But again, a lot of people are just, again, that's addiction. They are blinded by what by the addiction, I guess, by what they're doing. And so there was also parts in here he talked about his sex life. I didn't need to know about that, but a lot of the Hollywood memoirs are doing that, so you kind of have to skim over that. So again, like, I don't know, I feel like I really appreciated this more than anything, and I'm glad that I listened to it. But again, trigger warnings. I'm going to look at my review because I want to be clear. You know, he does discuss a lot of his sexual relationships. He used a ton of language, lots of F and S words, so be warned. He talks heavily about overcoming addiction with drugs and alcohol and, you know, trauma that he experienced with his parents and things like that, and hospital experiences as well. So just want to mention that. But if you do want to pick this up and you're okay with some of the content, I would do the audiobook. But again, yeah, I don't read a lot of celebrity memoirs because I'm not really like into all that. But every now and then I've heard a lot of buzz about this one, and to just check it out. So listen to it from the library, and glad that I read it. So I went on again too long. Let's see, what else did I read this month? Okay, let's start with from the top. How about that? I don't know how long we're gonna be here. I joined the Stanley crew this Black Friday, which y'all know. Ain't that cute? So, Black Friday book haul is coming, by the way. This is a chatty video. Black Friday book haul is coming. I got a big old stack over there. Where am I going to put them? I don't know. Bookshelf tour needs to be filmed. These shelves are looking at me like, girl, what you saying? I need some more water in that. Anyway, I know I would have never bought that for myself, but I did, so weird. But let's keep going. So, sorry, that was my intermission, as Chrissy would say. So, yeah. What am I saying? Right, I'm probably gonna have to look at my notes because there's a lot of this I want to talk about, and that is the Lord of the Rings. I finally finished the trilogy. Proud of myself. Yeah, like, look at me go. Your girl did it. Okay, I did the thing, and this is one of my goals for the year, so that's one thing I could check off. And will I finish Narnia? Probably not, but that's another goal for another day. So I give this 4.5 stars, and I feel like this wasn't my favorite of the trilogy. The first book and second book are definitely like my favorites. The third one I loved, but there's something special about this whole trilogy as a whole, and I wrote a lot in my review about that, so I'm definitely going to be looking at my iPad because memory. But I finished this on November the 5th, okay, so we almost at the end of the month. My memory's gone. Overall, this is such an epic conclusion to the trilogy. It's just, I see why it captures everybody's hearts. I see why everybody loves this. I already love the movies, but now I have just a separate feel and love and nostalgia feel for the whole book series, and it's just so good. So Tolkien had this best storytelling, world building, character development. I see why this is just a favorite for so many generations, and many people of all ages could just enjoy this. It's so good. So in this one, we're seeing Frodo, of course. If you didn't know, you know what I'm saying. But in this one, we see Frodo and Sam. They're making their journey to Mount Doom. There's so many emotions that they're grappling with. The weight of the ring is taking a toll on Frodo, and it takes a toll on their friendships. And just Sam was this true hero. He is definitely my favorite character, like one of my top, because he shines in this book. Like the stuff with the spiders and stuff, like look what he was doing. He was like, I'm not leaving. Like he was just showing how much he cared for Frodo, and he would do anything to keep him safe and to finish the journey that they set up. And he just wrestled with should he have done. And my friend Lindsay actually noticed that, you know, there's some moments here of Christian allegory, and I'm so glad that she mentioned this. Like Sam's carrying Frodo up to Mount Doom in the final stages, right, of their journey to destroy the ring. And you've seen this in the movies, right? It's in the movies. And he's like saying, I can't carry the ring, but I can carry you. And Lindsay, she said, that's just like how Jesus carries the struggling believer. And that was such a great connection. Sam is going to help Frodo to complete his mission and carry the burden as he struggles to fulfill his purpose, just as Jesus carries the struggling believer. That's what I wrote. And I was just like, my mind is blown. Yes, yes. There's also a lot of Christ-like characteristics in this series of characters that you'll see. Like Sam, he is this suffering servant and just faithful companion to Frodo. And one website kind of correlates Sam as a suffering Christ figure who loves his friends so passionately that he will never abandon them. And I definitely see that in Sam's character. We also see the true corruption of the One Ring with Gollum and what it was trying to do to Frodo throughout the story and other characters throughout the series. You know, anytime someone touches it, it's like that corruption, that sin is a definite representation there. Like the ring could represent the evil or the sin that lurks within all humans, and those who are near it, they're lured by its power, its promise, and it can become an idol for them, right? And just so easily to that person. And so we can see like this true destruction of what it could do. That was so just profound to think about. And I know, like, I've read some different opinions. I don't think Tolkien ever really said it was meant to be a Christian allegory. I don't know. Seems like I read an article that someone said that. Don't know if that's true, but I could definitely see that coming through, right? We also see like Aragorn, he's the rightful king of Gondor, right? So he is starting to step into his destiny with honor and duty, and it's just so inspiring. And you don't see much of Arwen, by the way. Like, I didn't realize that. I was like, okay, I love Aragorn and Arwen, but their story is more in the appendices. So that was interesting. She's like in the very end of this book. So if you're going into this thinking you're going to have that, honey, that's like very small. But the movie makes it look good. So hey, I'm okay with that. But, you know, I feel like Middle Earth is just this vivid world setting, and it's always going to be one of my favorite fantasy worlds of all time. You know, from this grand city of Minas Tirith all the way to the Darklands of Mordor and the fires of Mount Doom and all this stuff. The beautiful just hills of the Shire. Just so much is just so good, and it's very immersive, and I'm so glad that I read it. I know I'm again going on and on about this, but you know, I feel like the only reason that this wasn't 5 stars for me, and there's like a part at the end of this I was like, what is this? And it was like the scouring of the Shire. It was a whole chapter on that. After they already got back from the whole journey, there's like another thing that happens, like a secondary plot that's like random. And I'm glad it wasn't in the movies. And a lot of people have said that, because it would have been oddly placed to have like a second plot of them doing something. But regardless, I still like, it should be 5 star, but like there's just a couple parts that kind of dragged with that, and then that was kind of weird. So whatever. I still really love this. It's still a favorite of all time. Audiobooks, that's the way to go for me, because I struggle with classics and old time writing, and the audiobooks with Andy Serkis. I've said this 100 times. They are the way to go. Now, Rob Ingalls, he is also a good narrator, but Andy Serkis though, especially if you're a movie lover, the voices, yeah. So, yeah, forever a favorite of all time. We gonna be here for an hour now. I feel like I've been filming forever. Okay, so if you saw some of my other videos, you know that I did mention I read In a Far Off Land by Stephanie Landsem, and this is one of the 23 in 2023, and I'm finally going to talk about my thoughts. Okay, so this is a Christian historical fiction, and it is a heartbreaking but beautiful prodigal daughter story. The ending had me in tears. I mean, the good kind of tears. I gave it 5 stars. Keep that in there. I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads. It's like a 4.5 to 5, okay? So, this is about this girl Minerva, and she is going to the Midwest, or not the Midwest. She's going to Hollywood from the Midwest in an effort to make it big. She needs money for her family. Her sister and her father are needing money for their farm and all this stuff. They have a lot of debt. So she ends up going to Hollywood trying to make it big. And first of all, I love the covers. This is set in the 20s, you can tell. Like around the time that the Great Depression was about to go down. So like late 20s, early 30s. Minerva, she finds herself on the streets and making mistakes. Wrong people, getting with wrong people very quickly. And she meets this guy named Max, and things start to get better when she meets him, and he's kind of helping her figure out things along the way until she ends up, waking up next to a dead film star and being like, what is this? She had no memory of anything. She's like running out of the house and runs into this car and ends up meeting Oscar. Okay, which ends up being Max's cousin, okay? And he is a Mexican gardener in danger of deportation, okay? So that's Oscar's story, but he's like driving by, and she's running out this building at the beginning. Look at me explaining this. I feel like I need a chalkboard. But she's running out of the house, and she's like in her dress or night shift, whatever you want to call it. They called it back then. And like, she's like disheveled after waking up next to this dead film star, okay? And so Oscar, he kind of acts like he don't know how to speak English because he don't know what's up. And so he ends up taking her back to where she was, and then like they end up like getting back, you know, seeing each other again because their paths cross, as the story would have it. But yeah, so Max and Oscar, they kind of battle their past together. We learn about that, and then they're also trying to help Minerva get her name cleared for this murder thing and keep the family safe from deportation. So there's all that stuff going on. That's pretty much the whole plot. And Minerva went through it. This girl went through it. I mean, Stephanie Landsem knows how to write a book, because there was so much hardships in what she went through, sadness, hurt, and she just made some really bad decisions. But God was with her the entire time, y'all. Like, even when she didn't see it. And I can relate to her in a little bit, not to the extent, but like I made some bad decisions, and so that's kind of part of my testimony. I made decisions that were bad, you know, with the wrong friends, and God was with me even when I didn't see it. He was working. I talked about that in one of my faith Q&As at one time. I'll leave it below if you want to watch it. Like, it's been out for a while, but I do have a faith Q&A that a lot of y'all had asked about kind of my testimony, and I wasn't very detailed in that. But, you know, essentially, I had hung out with friends, lots of clubs and drinking and all that stuff, and, you know, just the wrong crowd. And when I was in my early 20s, and that's when I had, not had a relationship with the Lord, and I came back to the Lord when I was 25. I had moved 2 hours away from those old friends and kind of quit doing those things. And, Blake and we were together the whole time through all this. So our relationship had struggled at the time. This is not trying to go to a testimony video, but I can relate. I say that so that kind of like what I'm saying. Like, I can relate to part of her story, because I remember a time that it just hit me like a ton of bricks that the Lord was with me in all those days when I didn't see it. And he loved me, and he just took me through the journey back to him. And she didn't feel good enough for Max or anyone else because of the things she had done and the things she had been through and what had happened to her. But she is enough because God's enough. Editing made it really quick. I wanted to say the reason that I gave this 4.5, not quite 5 stars, is I would have liked to seen more of like her relationship with God versus just more so like her coming back to her family, like her father, her earthly father, right? That wasn't shown exactly as much as I would have liked, but you as the reader still see how the Lord was working in her life. So yeah, even when she didn't say it. And so at the end, I would have liked to see it just a little bit more like of like that detail with her. But there are, because there's not a lot of that explained with her. But there are some things, but it's like as much as I would have liked. You know what I'm saying? So it's still a great read. Back to the video. I just want to mention that one part. And just to see her story was so beautiful. The ending made me cry. A really great message about forgiveness. And, her father, we see some of her father worrying about her as well throughout this story. And just, for me, the ending of it with the prodigal daughter story side was what got me more than anything. Like her dad, just with her, it was just the most beautiful thing. So yeah, it's just the author's note. I mean, look at my review here. It says, her hope is that this reimagining of the parable of the lost son, we can see ourselves in one or all of the characters. Some are seeking redemption and forgiveness. For aren't we all wayward children going to return to the arms of our Father? And don't we long for him to say, I forgive you, my child. I love you always, no matter what. Amen. And I just loved her author's note, loved the story. Very relatable and so much. So this book's definitely going to stick with me. It's one of my favorite Christian historical fictions. And there are some parts that kind of drag, but I feel like it's just overall a good story in the end, right? And if you like historical fiction, pick this up. So the trigger warnings, there are trigger warnings of sexual assault, prostitution, smoking, drinking, a closed door scene, but not graphic. So there may be other things that I missed because it is Hollywood in the 1920s and 30s. So think about that. But, I would just say this is more for like adult readers, not young readers, because of some of the subject matter. But that ending with that forgiveness and faith thread was well worth the read. So I highly recommend this. I did mention to y'all that I read The Santa Suit. We're going to skip this for the wrap up because I have a whole vlog with this. We'll talk about this later. It was good, 4 stars, cute. I'll link the review down below if you want to read it ahead of time. If you just have to know, it's on my blog. But I'm not going to waste time in this video for this because there's a whole thing coming out with this in December. So yeah, we're going to skip on that. But a Christmas book that I'm not going to skip is The Christmas Joyride by Melanie Carlson. And y'all, I actually really like this. I get this 4 stars. It was really cute. And like I said, I really like her books. Did I talk about this already in the video? If I did, my bad. But I love a good story with a grandmother figure. And her name's Joy. And she's one of our main characters who's 85. Say less. Like, I love, like, an elderly character in a book. And so, does not disappoint. She has lots of humor and spunk, all that stuff. So she ends up telling her neighbor, Miranda, that she's going to travel from Chicago to Phoenix for her new nursing home, set up in this RV that's all decked out with all the Christmas lights and decor, right? And Miranda's, like, afraid of what could happen to her along the way because of her age. And she says, let me go with you. And she agrees. And they start, like, helping out people along the way, giving, Christmas blessings along the way. She has, like, her own little website. People can, like, apply, I want to say, sorry if I'm saying that wrong, but something like that, for these blessings, I guess you'll say. They just are on this journey together, and it was super cute. Definitely the cute cheese you want at Christmas. The romance was, it's the love, a little bit. But, like, they did say love you, so I was like, okay, not too bad. But, like, she just met the guy, and she was like, there was mention of, like, possibly falling for him, but, like, we're moving on. It's fine. I can overlook it because I like the actual story outside of that. Didn't necessarily need that, but there was a cute little young girl. He's like a single dad with his little daughter, and they're like helping him out. And so I like that. I mean, I'm a sucker for a single dad story. So yeah, but my favorite part was more so the relationship, like the friendship that Joy and Miranda had together. And it just goes to show you can find any true friendship in someone other than your own age, right? It doesn't, and you know, Joy was filled with this wisdom, and she was just a delight to read about. So yeah, if you want to pick up a fun Christmas read, I highly recommend The Christmas Joyride. Now, these next two books, I talked a lot about it, so we gonna skim, because if you have not seen my video where I got to meet the author of Dear Henry, Love Edith, Becca Kinzer, I will link it down below. It was so much fun. I was just so thankful because I never get to meet any authors. Like, I don't know that I ever will. Like, it'd probably be like many years from now if I get to see another one. But it's just, I don't have that opportunity, right? And I know so many people don't. So I'm just saying this, like, take me with a grain of salt. I'm just really thankful for that in my true humbleness. Like, I'm truly thankful because that doesn't happen, right? And if that author's here, it's not usually a Christian fiction author. And so I'm so thankful I got to meet Becca during this time and read her book. And this was not on my TBR immediately. It was on my TBR cart, but not for like the TBR this month. So some of the books I planned to read in November didn't get read, but this one did. This kind of replaced it, right? So basically, all I will say about this is it's a really cute Christian rom-com. It's clean. I read it in 24 hours. It would make a great movie. It's like that, you know, you've got Mel storyline. You've got Edith and Henry, and Edith ends up needing a place to stay, and she's talking to this girl and says, hey, my Uncle Henry has like a little room for whatever rent, we'll say. She goes over there, and they have different schedules, so they never meet, but they're writing letters back and forth in the kitchen, and they each think each other's like 80-something-year-olds, so they're like not realizing that the other's not elderly. And then in the meantime, while they're doing all these letters, they actually do meet in real life without saying each other's names. It's kind of that kind of storyline, and they find each other so attractive. So it's like, okay, we got a little crush here. You know, they liking each other on the side, don't know each other's names. They keep showing up. They kind of have to do a little fake dating. It's this whole thing. And, you know, I personally really liked it. I think there's some that have said they didn't really care for some of the reveals and things, the way it went down. I could see that, but I was just so immersed in the overall story listening to the audiobook that I guess I kind of glossed over some of that and didn't mind it as much. I just was enjoying my time with it, you know. Liked the side characters in this story most of all because they were just like assuming like so much stuff, like, oh, y'all are engaged, what? Like, it just reminds me of like a southern town even though it's in the Midwest. So yeah, I loved it. Like the little gossips and stuff they had was hilarious. Like there was just so much of like the side characters I loved truly, and like the small town vibe. I love a good small town, and the characters were in their 30s, all the good stuff there. So very relatable. You know, just felt like the town felt like a really great character itself, you know, and it was just funny. So yeah, if you want like a really cute, fun Christian rom-com, pick this up. You will not regret it. And then we've got the, what am I saying, 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. I talked a lot about this too. I ain't gonna get into it too much, except this is a crazy, just secular page turner. Okay, 4 to 4.5 stars. This was on my 23 and 2023. I was actually really proud of myself for finishing this because it's not my typical read. It was outside of my comfort zone. Several of my friends really enjoy this book. I know Holly, Chrissy, and Lindsay Lemus, they have loved this book, and so I had like a little Telegram chat with them, and that was the best part of this, was getting to like get my thoughts out with them and say, am I understanding this right? Am I on the right track? And I really appreciated them ladies for like listening to me because I needed somebody. I needed that sounding board. And so this, like I said, this is secular, so it's not a Christian book. Wild ride, crazy story, lots of characters to keep up with. So, you know, make sure that you really keep up with the characters. There is like on the front, like a little listing of the characters. I ain't gonna find it, but it's in the front, okay, that I had to refer to a few times. I didn't even realize it was there because I was listening in tandem with the audiobook, and I'm like, oh, they were like, yeah, I refer to the list in the front, Amanda. Okay, I missed that. But yeah, so this is set at Blackheath Manor. You spend basically every day in the body of a different character from another character's point of view. So it's like you repeat the same day, like for 7.5 days, I guess. So you're repeating the days every day to see how did Evelyn Hardcastle die, right? Because it says in the synopsis, Evelyn Hardcastle will be murdered at 11 p.m. every day. There's 8 days and 8 witnesses for you to inhabit. So it's kind of like a game of Clue, I guess. So yeah, I first started this, I didn't even know that what was going on, and I had to like figure that out. So the first 8 chapters, you're in like the point of view from one character, then you switch around and stuff, different days. So yeah, but basically the whole story is set up surrounding Evelyn Hardcastle being murdered. You got to figure out who killed her by the end, and we're at this event that's like a memorial for her brother that died many years ago, and it's just a lot of twists and turns. So that's all I can say. You know, we've got kind of this evil character called the Footman, and he's kind of like trying to kill all the hosts that you inhabit throughout the story. You've got this plague doctor who's kind of like your host, your like director of the storyline, whatever you want to call it, tour guide, whatever you want to call it. He's just telling you how it all set up, how it works for the entire situation. He explains the rules, that kind of thing. And so yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I can share. All I'm going to share. It was a bit long for me, so I feel like 4 to 4.5 is like the right rating for me, but I still am glad I read it. I'm going to keep the book on my shelves. I feel like the audiobook is great, but looking at the pages definitely helps. Content warnings, secular book, so there's mild language, very odd description of the male anatomy. I already talked about this, you know, where like one character, he's like occupying the body of the butler, and he's like looking at himself like, what is this? You know, so that's mentioned. Some people didn't really like that at all, and I didn't really care for that. I was just like, why was that in there? So whatever. Discussions of some sexual assault, murder scenes, mentions of suicide, you know, some mentions of torture and substance abuse, but like that's very, very brief. I want to mention that. It's very, very brief, like a sentence or 2. So those are some things that I found, some other people had found, and I put that in my review. So yeah, I guess, like I said, 4 to 4.5 stars. Glad I read it. It's not for everybody, but I am, again, glad that I read it. So we're moving on, because I don't want to be here all day for that either. And then I finished, finally, felt like this took me forever. I don't know what was going on with me, but don't come for me in the comments on this. But I finished this book, To Spark a Match by Jen Toronto. This is one I picked up for Honest Reading Review, and I gave it 3 stars. It just didn't hit like the first one. I love Jen Toronto's books, so don't get me wrong. She is hilarious. The first book in this is A Match in the Making, and I loved it. Give it 5 stars. One of my favorite books. But this one did not have the same humor to me, and there was a lot of dialogue that I was just like, what are we doing? So it just fell a bit flat. For some reason, I wasn't able to connect with the characters. The story kind of dragged on, I think because of the dialogue. This is just me personally. I'm telling y'all, this may just be me. There's a couple people that said the same thing as me, but I do think I'm the unpopular opinion. And I did listen to the audiobook in this, and I think that's part of my problem is I listen to the audio. And again, sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. And then this, I don't know. I did both a little bit, but most of it I listened to audio. But I wasn't able to connect with our characters. It was hard. So this book is about Adelaide Devine. And she's like this unconventional girl. I could relate to her. Like, when you hear how she is explained, that's kind of like me. You know, she's not your typical girl. She's not like all the other women. She has her own little quirks and things. Yeah. But, you know, again, I still just couldn't connect to her overall. And so she's determined to pretty much be the spinster forever. And one day she stumbles upon Mr. Gideon, who is engaged in a covert activity, we'll say. And she gets involved in this world of intrigue and mystery with him. And then we kind of start to see some matchmaking begin, and the story goes on from here. So, yeah, I did like the part where she, like, meets him, and he's, like, hiding something. Like, he's like, what are you doing in here? So I did like that part. It's probably my favorite, but then the rest of it is like, what is this? But the romance was, like, sweet, but, like, again, I just didn't connect with them as a couple. And Gideon, he was a great guy, wanted to protect Adelaide. So I like to see that, but again, no connection. So it's like, what? I don't know. Sometimes it just hits that way, you know? It's not a bad book, but it's not my favorite, you know? So middle of the road, 3 star. I think some people will enjoy this and find lots of laughs. I've seen some of the reviews say that, but like I said, just, it was what it was. So, you know, there were some bookshop aspects. There's a little mystery. I did like that. Hidden journals and all this stuff. But yeah, a little aspect of blackmail going on. Figure out who's involved. So yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely gonna check out the next book to see what I think, but yeah, I do like this series. It's been fun, but book 2 just kind of fell flat for me. So yeah, 3 stars. On a better note, we've got the Juliet Code by Pepper Basham, and I finally finished it. 4 stars. This comes out December 1st, which actually it was released, I think, for audio and ebook, like the middle of November. So yeah, that was cool. So this came in early, and I was really happy with that. So this one is this, okay, if you didn't know, book 1 is The Mistletoe Countess. And I'm going to tell y'all, my Christmas book recommendation video comes out December 1st. And I forgot the Mistletoe Countess in it. But that's a great Christmas read. If you didn't know, it'll be in my winter Christmas book recs video. But this is a really great, I got this 5 stars. I loved it. Great Christmas read. So I'm just saying that now. It's great. I said that in my winter book rec video, but we here. So I just had to repeat that. But book 1 is The Mistletoe Countess. Book 2 is The Cairo Curse. Okay, they're in Egypt here. And book 3, the Juliet Code. So they are in Italy here. So this is all about Freddie and Grace. We're back with our characters here, you know. And book 1 is still my favorite of all time of this series. But this one was still good. I gave it 4 stars. It's kind of like 3.75 to 4, but I still really enjoyed it. We saw our couple finally reach their honeymoon destination in Italy, okay? And you know, in book 2, they kind of got like stuck somewhere, okay, in Egypt, okay? So now they are finally in Italy, but as things would have it, there's like a mystery. We see, what was his name? I always forget the name. Detective Jack Miracle, their friend, okay? They run into him, and there's a mystery that needs to be solved. They do some sleuthing, all that stuff, okay? The series is always fun. It's a good adventure. Makes for a great romantic mystery, but this is definitely more the mystery. Like, book 2 and 3 are more mystery. Book 1 is more the romance. So I had more of that romance, like them getting to know each other. And it was so just precious to me. And I still really like these mysteries, but there's just something about book 1 that it's just top tier. There's a little bit of humor. Freddie and Grace's interactions were top notch. And just put it all together, you have great stories. See them traveling like through Venice. And they, like I said, they meet up with Jack Miracle. And there's like art heists. Am I saying it right? Enunciate, Amanda. Surrounding these Juliet paintings, okay? And they're trying to figure out what's up with this. So that's the best way I can explain. And so, yeah, just a great third book in the series. I don't know if we're going to have any more, but every time, I think if you like a good light mystery with some romance, this is it. Like I said, more mystery. But the characters make the story, as with always, with Paper Basham's books. So, yeah, and then this cover, she reminds me of the girl who plays Jamie's daughter in Outlander. Like, that looks just like Sophie, what's her name? Sophie something. She plays Brianna. So anyway, yeah, so I'm like, that looks just like her. But anyway, so yeah, read that. I'm glad I got that one done, okay? And I think that's it as far as what I have read so far this month. It is. Did I miss anything? Girl, I didn't. Look at me go. I've been filming for an hour, though, so who knows what this will be. Now, I do want to say I am, because I've got how many days left in this month? I mean, look at me. Typical reader. How many days we got left in the month to read? Okay. We got 2 days. Today and tomorrow. Actually, tomorrow. We got 1 day. Okay. 1 day. And I'm unhinged. So I'm probably going to go into the weekend. Okay. Since this weekend starts Vlogmas. Okay. So actually tomorrow, because you're going to be seeing this on Thursday the 30th. And the first day of Vlogmas is Friday. So hey, what I have to say. I hope you all enjoy it. I've only filmed up to day 9 as of right now. So yeah, I gotta get going. So this weekend, I'm gonna be working like a dog. Okay? Just like, okay. But I am reading also right now, Dreaming About Forever by Mandy Blake. This is a Christmas book that's in like a series that they're doing, Redemption Ridge. And I'm not gonna read the series, but I am really enjoying this. It's like this girl, I'm like 30% in, so I'm gonna try to finish this. I wanted to have finished for this video, but I didn't have time. It's been a busy work week. But this is about a celebrity girl who, her and her sister, they're like singers, and they have basically had their parents been stealing their money. What? Millions of dollars. How that has happened, I don't know. But she ends up like getting away from all the paparazzi and the crazy fame. She's not a Christian. She's never really been in church. And so they're about to go to church now. So in this part. So I'm like really excited about that. But it's a Christian, a clean romance. And, you know, there's like some, that attraction, like that cheesy attraction. Like that's whatever. But I'm really enjoying this still. So it's fine. I'm probably going to give it 4 stars, I think. We'll see how it ends. It's like really short. You know those Christmas novellas like that. So, but the bodyguard guy. And I love a good bodyguard story. So we hear. So, yeah, I'm going to try to finish this. He comes in. They're back in his hometown in Colorado. All this stuff. And so she's meeting his family. But like, they kind of just met. So, like, you know, we'll see. If it's instant love, can I forgive it? We'll see. I like her writing. That's why I like Mandy Blake's writing. So, like, I'll probably give it 4 stars. So, yeah, it's been a good one. So, and she did send me that to honestly read, so that's why I'm trying to get it done. It just came out this week. So the other books I have on my list, because I'm unhinged, is I have to read this. So it's going to have to be read this weekend, is Rocky Mountain Promise by Misty Beller. Book 2 in the series. I ain't got there yet. I have the audio. We getting it. And then I'm going to be buddy reading with my friend what's her name? Teresa. Okay. Oh my gosh, my brain went down to space. Sorry, girl. I just talked to her today, and I'm like, my brain is just, I've been talking too long. I'm gonna need some more water. I'm out. But I'm gonna be reading this with Teresa. Okay, she's already read chapter 1. I'm already mad at my buddy Reed. Nancy Mail, Deadfall, book 2. And is this book 2? Did I pick a right book? Yeah, in the series. I'm gonna be listening to audio on that too. Might have to listen to the first couple chapters tonight. And then I get to Sarah Sutton to see before I said a lot of y'all want me to read. No. So when I pick this up, audio is on deck. We'll see. So when I get to my TBR for the weekend, probably not. I'm gonna be busy. Vlogmas, reading, audio, all the things. But we here. So, not going to put too much pressure on myself. Yeah, I will. But I'm going to try not to. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is like Real Time Amanda. Again, make sure you follow me on Instagram. Book Lover Amanda. Goodreads. Link below. All this is linked below. Words. The blog. bookloveramanda.blogspot.com. And all the links and things will be down below. Just to kind of keep up me in real time. Because you're not going to see real me over the next, like, who knows, at least 2 or 3 weeks. So, I'll be here. I'll try to do a mid-month wrap up. I got some videos I gotta be filming. So, if you're still here, I love you. Thank you so much for watching. Just let's chat in the comments as always. Love y'all so much. And I'll see y'all in my next video. Bye, y'all.